Okay, here's another attempt to make a little do-it-yourself funk guitar in Ableton Live using just stock plugins, but principally it's a tension instrument, which is for modelling string instruments. Now, I made a video about this before, but I thought about it after, and I think it wasn't as successful as all that, partly because despite the fact I went through a few of the parameters, it wasn't very specific, and I had a job subsequently even managing to replicate what I'd done, and so I sort of thought, if I lose it, I'll never be able to recreate it again, and the video was not very clear. So I'm going to do this again, and I've spent hours and hours again trying to really understand and get to grips with tension as far as I can to create this guitar. Now, at this point, I think I've given up, really. I don't think it's good enough for really making proper funk in a track, other than maybe just, kind of, a little bit of sugar going on in the back. But I think probably I'm going to end up buying some proper VST sample instruments. Like I think I've decided I'm going to get Native Instruments Scarby Funk Guitarist. I think I'll get this. They seem to be doing it on offer at the moment, $45 I think, as opposed to the $89. So I might get that. But in the meantime, let's just walk through what I'm doing here. So I've got this track here, and it's just got a blank tension on it, and I've already stuck on some effects just to get a basic sort of guitar sound. I've got this medium curve saturator, slightly driven, this cabinet, a very subtle delay going on here, and a bit of reverb. Okay, but the main thing is this tension, and that's how it sounds. Now, this guitar that we're going to create is specifically with this funk sound in mind. It's not a general electric guitar, and therefore it's going to be applicable to a limited number of notes in the sort of C3 area, where you would just create chords, for a little bit of funk guitar strumming. Very basic, really. Now we've got this. I've got this chord pattern which I'll come to later. I mean, if I was to play that now, I think it's too loud. Let's see. So that sounds horrible at the moment. So I'm going to just turn the volume up on tension at the moment, back to the way it was. Right, now, the principle on which this works is in the well, let's just do one thing at a time. I've got this tension. Now we need to set a few basic settings here, right? And I've got these on a piece of paper, so I'm just going to put these in. So let's do the excitator section first. We're going to have a protrusion of 75%, and we're going to set a key value of -2. Stiffness 75%, and that's all there is for that. Velocity 70%. And a position 10, damping 55. Oh, Now, critical value is this -2 here. -2 key value for velocity. Leave the fixed position off. Okay, that's what we need for the excitator. This is the thing that sets the string vibrating, so to speak. Right, we need this damper switched on, and it's gated. We want a mass of 80%, stiffness 75, velocity 20, position 10, and just set its key value to 35. That just has a subtle effect, although I can't explain quite how it works. Damping 25%. Okay, so that's the damper value set. Vibrato is not really required for this. Anyway, right. Decay, set this up to about 80, just increase that a bit on the string section. Ratio 50, in harmony, that can all stay the same. Damping, you need to increase this a bit. Let's set that to 70. Right, that's that. Right, now termination, we need this as well. Set finger mass to 60. Fret stiffness to about 85. Right, you want the pickup on and bring this right down to 0. We want the body, set it to guitar, medium, and that's it. So how does that sound? Now it's slightly driven, of course, because we've got the saturator, but which is more noticeable in the lower notes. Right, I'm just going to put a limiter on here because I know that you would be worried about that. So let's just stick that on here, coming out of tension. Okay, so in the region we're talking about, it sounds very thin when you go up higher up the register. And we don't want it for down here, so it's just middle C area. Now, if I bring the volume of this down to say -10, because we're now going to be playing a number of notes together, let's play this MIDI clip. Now, it sounds a bit funny, right? Because we've got this is 16ths, right? And some of this represents downstrokes, and therefore it sounds weird because we need to do some tweaking. Now, I explained this in the other video, but we need to go through this again. So let's just group this tension into an instrument rack, and we're going to call this one the downstroke. Okay, now we're going to duplicate that. And we're going to call this one upstroke. Ooh. Right, so we need to change the timbre of the upstroke to make it sound different. Okay, now on the chain, we're going to have half of it downstroke, half of it upstroke. Right, okay, so max for live. We're going to control this with this max for live LFO thing. We set it to sync, and we sync it for 8 notes, and we map it to the chain selector. So, we also have a rectangle wave, and when we play, so you see it's fluctuating between the downstroke and the upstroke on 16ths. Okay, right, so now we have to tweak this upstroke. And as far as I can tell, I have identified the critical elements that need changing, right? And the most important one seems to be this velocity value here. Now on the downstroke, this was deliberately set to a minus value because the effect it has, because it's being affected by the notes being played, the higher notes will cause the velocity to reduce. So if let's tell you what, let's demonstrate this by putting a chord instrument at the front here. And if we just have a major chord, so you can hear a chord being played. Now if I change, seeing as that's set to -2 there, if I reduce the velocity, note what happens. Nothing. Let's try that again. Oh, it's because I'm doing the wrong one. Right. Let's put that back the way it was. Right, sorry, I should be on the downstroke. No, I think what I need to do is change this value to demonstrate it. See, what's happening is, as this value is increased and we reduce the velocity, you can hear the notes being separated. Let's turn the volume up. Okay, so that's what you would hear, albeit not as extreme as that in a downstroke. So if I put this back to 70 and this goes back to -2, what we have to do for the upstroke is change it around. So you have to make this a positive value. Which I can't demonstrate right now. You just have to take my word for it. But this seems to be the most critical value, right? Everything else should, more or less everything else should stay the same, but you change that, you also reverse the key value for protrusion. So those two values are the opposite of what they are in the upstroke, in the downstroke. So they're negative for the downstroke and they're positive for the upstroke. It could be that, as well as being positive, you might just tweak these a little bit more depending on how you want it to sound. Now, having changed those two values, you then will likely need to reduce the velocity and the damping and protrusion to compensate, because it makes it louder. Right, so let's see how that sounds. Oh, turn the chord device off. So there is a bit of a difference, right? I mean, just supposing I was to duplicate this again, go back to the way it was, turn that one off. See, it sounds terrible. Just downstrokes. Now you have to. I'm sorry, this clip just keeps playing. I know it just gets a bit much, but you just have to tweak protrusion, velocity, and damping to just get it to gel with the downstroke. Hang on, let's just compare it with one I did before. Trying to work out what's different. I haven't actually got the key set on that. Let's get rid of that. Set this to 60. 49, 47, 37. 49, 37, 47. Have I reduced the stiffness? Yes, I have. I've reduced the stiffness. Oh, right. What a mess. What a mess. Yeah. I mean, I've made this video just for the record. Because, you know, at some point in the future, if I want to just revisit tension again, then, you know, I've got this to sort of fall back on. But the main thing to take away from this is that, you know, there is this difference between, you know, this key value is sort of critical for whether you're kind of like doing downstrokes or upstrokes. But I don't think I'm really going to make genuine use of this. I'm going to buy a plug-in, I think. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, thanks for watching.